It's very common to want to be able to repeat things in a program that you're writing, and there are different ways you can do this. You can repeat things a fixed number of times, you can repeat things while a certain condition is true, you can repeat things until something happens, so somebody presses a key. In this video we're going to have a look firstly at how to repeat things a fixed number of times. So we'll start with a very simple example. So imagine you wanted to print the word hello 10 times for whatever reason. So you could do it like this. So you could say print hello, print hello, print hello. Now I've copied and pasted that, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so that program would print the word hello 10 times. And that works. Is that the best way to do it? Well, it works, and because it's a short and simple program, you probably haven't lost a great deal in terms of processing time or memory or anything, but it's not particularly easy to maintain, because if I wanted to say change that program so it said hi 10 times, what I'd have to do is I'd have to go through and change all of the hellos to highs, and it's starting to get a bit of a faff quite quickly. So as luck would have it, there's an easy way to repeat things in BASIC, and in fact a similar structure exists in most programming languages, which is used to use a command called for to create something called a for loop. So a repeated section of a program is called a loop, and this is probably the easiest and most common way to do it in a BASIC program. So you have the command or keyword for, and then you need some sort of number variable. So it can be any number variable. So you could call it counter, for example, or you could just call it C or N or X or a single letter. And then it's a bit like counting. So you say what's the first number you want and what's the last number you want with a 2 in between. So you can say for C or whatever number. I'm going to go for N for number, actually. Then we have what we want to repeat. Now, traditionally, it's good practice to indent by pressing the Tab key the repeated section, just so it's easier to see which bits are repeated and which bits aren't, because when you have a quick glance at a program, sometimes it's difficult to see where the loops start and finish. It doesn't actually affect the way the program runs in any way. And to end the repeated section, you just need the word next. So what this will do is it'll effectively print the word hello 10 times, but it will count from 1 to 10 while it's doing it, and print hello as it's done it. So the indented bit, this bit here, is the bit that gets repeated. The top and the bottom lines are the structure that causes it to repeat. And if we run that, then we can see that we get our 10 hellos. We can adapt that, obviously. So if we wanted it to print all on the same line, we can use the semicolon. So all the other techniques we've seen in the same video, in the previous videos, work. So if we run that now, we get 10 hellos in a row. And if we want anything to happen only once, anything sort of above the for or below the next will only happen once. So if I do this, okay, so if I run that now, I'll get 10 lots of hello, but only 1 lot of the end, because it's outside the loop. Okay, so hello, 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 the end. Okay, but it's a lot more useful than that, a for loop, because we've got that number variable and we're effectively counting. We can actually use that number variable, so we can just print it, for example. So if I want to number my hellos, I can add the n to what I'm printing, or just print n on its own if I want to. So we'll just print n like so, and we'll get rid of that as well. So what this will do is this will count from 1 to 10, but it will print the number that it's counting up to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can also do things with that number. So we can do things like we can do a calculation with it. So we can say double n is n times 2, for example. And what that'll do is that'll count from 1 to 10, but it'll tell us what double that number is. So double 1 is 2, double 2 is 4, etc. So we could use this if you've got a younger brother, sister, child, etc., learning times tables. Then you could use this to produce a times table machine. So you could say input which table would you like, and then we'll store, we'll call that T for table, and then we could say n times t equals n times t. And if we do that, so that's combining techniques from the first 2 videos and this one as well. So what it'll do is it'll ask us which table we'd like. We'd store that in the variable t, and then we count up to 12, multiplying the number we're counting through by the number we've given it for the table, and display the result. So if we run that program, which table would I like? Well, I'd like my 2 times table, please. And okay, and it's displayed it for us. 1 2 is 2, 2 2s are 4, etc. So that's quite a useful technique, being able to count up and actually being able to use the values as you're counting. So some of you might be thinking, well, can we count in steps other than 1? So yes is the answer. So what we could do, we can do things like, we can count up to, we don't have to start at 1, so we could say 0 to 100, and then we could say there's a command called step, so we can say what steps we want to go up in. So we could say count from 0 to 100 in steps of 10, and if we just print n, we can see what that does. So that should count from 0 to 100 in steps of 10. What we can also do is we can count backwards. So if we said from 100 to 0 in steps of, well, obviously if we're going down we need a negative step size. So if we do that, then we can count backwards as well, and we can also count into the negative range. So if we say 5 to -5, step -1, for example, we can do that as well. So we count down and go into negative numbers, or we can start in negative numbers and count up. So that's a quick introduction to repetition in Just Basic using the for loop. So it takes for, a variable name. It needs to be a numeric variable, but you can be whatever you like as a name. It has a starting number and an ending number, and an optional step size if you don't want to go up in ones. If you miss that out, it'll go up in ones. If you want to go down or you want to go up in other steps, then you need the step in there. You can use the value that so this variable here is usually called a loop counter. So within the loop, you can use the loop counter to perform calculations, or use it as an array index. We haven't looked at arrays yet, but that's in a future video. So you can use that to look up other values, and also it's good practice to get into to indent the bit that you're repeating that goes inside the for next structure.